What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the SB Fantasy Football Podcast with your pals Alan and Rapid Dave. I'm Alan.
I'm RD. What up, buddy?
You know what, brother? I'm just living the dream. Living the dream. Life is good. Um, had a good stream Saturday night. Our Saturday night lives have been good. We got another week of football coming up. Got bye weeks. We're getting ready to start hitting the bye weeks. We just got a lot of things that are happening. So how are you feeling?
It's always good when you get wins. I took it in the shorts like the first 2 weeks, and I was just like, you know what? It sucks. No reason. We've had this conversation before. There's not a fire sale until after maybe week 4 or something. So I didn't really worry. I was like, guys aren't performing. The guys I did draft were kind of holdouts, So I'm like, they're not ready. But the last, I think 2 weeks, I think I've swept 4 out of the 5 leagues. The only league I'm not going to win is a Henson league. So I just kind of hit optimize and then fucking walk away. I'm on you about cussing, and here I am cussing. And so, I just the other ones though, kind of just chill. Now there were some scares in there, like any other week, right? Like you're up so high. I stopped looking at the scores at certain times because I just want to enjoy the game. I want to watch, the red zone, or I want to go to the bar and have fun or go to an actual game. I don't want to worry about the scores. I don't want that to bring me down. And the pick'ems, they do the same thing. You kind of worried about every game. I'm like, hey, dude, just enjoy football that it's here.
That's it.
So, yeah.
Just make your picks and then move on. I did get a little frustrated because during the Saturday Night Live, someone just came in and asked what I thought about the Packers and the Vikings game.
Okay.
And I'm talking through it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going Vikings. And I talked myself in the Vikings. I was like, but who did I pick? And I pulled it up. I was like, crap, I picked the Packers. I'll have to change that. Well, I didn't go back and change it. I left it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
like,
you. And that was a fun game. That's a lot of cool stuff. And we're actually going to talk about like some NFL records and standings and things like that over on Strikeout Beer tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time here on YouTube. You can check it out as well if you pop into this live stream. But yeah, no, I just some weeks in like I was like 0-2 in some leagues. Like I'm not worried about it, not yet. I had CeeDee Lamb out there. I go, I'll trade CeeDee Lamb right now for a case of Miller Lite. And I was dead serious, but nobody ever talked about the Miller Lite. They were like, "Oh, I'll send you Tyreek Hill, or I'll send you this." I'm like, "The beer,
no,
I'm for real.
Beer. I want beer. That's all I want."
And so didn't get the beer offer, didn't get the call. So I was like, "Okay, I'll hold on to him." There was a trade that was out there. Let me throw this at you and just see if you would accept this, because I think I turned down a good trade. I was set to receive Nico Collins for CeeDee Lamb.
Just straight up.
Yeah, it was straight up. I think he sent Mark Andrews along with it. Like at first, he was like, "Hey, let's just drop. If you want Mark Andrews, because I know you like him." I was like, "Nah, I don't. I can't start him." So he'd be one of those guys that I have to make a decision on cutting. But so Nico Collins for CeeDee Lamb PPR single QB redraft league.
I mean, that's tough. I think that's tough. I mean, like right now, Nico's the guy, but I really feel like CD's really going to he's going to pull through this year, right? He's off to a slow start, but he didn't have training camp. And that really plays a factor, I feel. So, and you still do have a lot of receivers over there in Houston. CJ Stroud hasn't looked as good as he did last year. He's kind of come down to reality just a little bit. Still playing good, but not the level he was playing last year. He's kind of had a little sophomore slump going on right now. I and now you got like Brandon Cooks is out. You're not quite sure how long he's going to be out. It's just CD over there. That's it.
I felt the same way. I even put it in the trade analyzer. I'll go to Roto or whatever, and and even that's like, we like it. We like CD just a little bit higher. I think his ceiling's higher, even though he's like a solid player. What's up, Michael? How you doing? And it doesn't show us the logos or the emojis on StreamYard. That's one of the downsides with that. So I'd have to pull up it on my cell phone. Actually, you know what? I probably have it over here. Yeah, he's just doing the little salute. Look, I'll do it from here and it'll work.
I was gonna say you can't see it.
My PC doesn't show it, but my Mac does.
So. Okay, I'm like I can see it
on your phone.
No, on the computer.
On your PC? No.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I was sitting there. I was like, I ran it through there, and they said they like CD a little bit more, and I was like, you know what? I agree. I think his upside's always going to be there, and I think that Nico he's having a great beginning to the season. If CJ Stroud gets hot, the sky's the limit for him. But I think I'm just going to have a better chance with CD.
I think your ceiling's higher with CD than
Yeah.
it is with Nico. How'd you do this week, Michael? Did you get the dub?
I've been asking everybody that question too. Everybody that's been chiming in, everybody's been loving the shorts. You know, your content. I just do screenshots. I don't even do now. I do pull clips from the show,
Right.
and I really haven't been enjoying the conversations and talking and just what do you have on your team? A lot of these teams are stacked. It's awesome. And then I'm always like, hey, did you get the win? Because that's what you care about. That's what and
Right.
people love to talk about their fantasy teams.
Oh yeah. Michael got the W. That's nice. Good job, buddy. I'll tell you, we had golf had the perfect game at the exact right time, dude. And perfect game, 18 for 18, 0 incompletions, a touchdown reception. That pass from Amon-Ra St. Brown was just, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. It was so pretty. And it's funny because like I'll catch clips on Facebook Shorts or whatever it's called. And they were playing a clip from last year, I think it was, of Amon-Ra had Golf on the podcast, and he was talking. He was like, "Hey, who's the third quarterback?" And Golf's like, "It's not you, buddy." He's like, "It's probably gonna be Montgomery. We're gonna run the Wildcat Montgomery." And Amon-Ra, dude, I could play. I could throw a nice pass. And then right after that, it cuts down to the bottom part. It did the little split screen, and it's him just lofting that ball right up there to him. And Golf's like, "That's my first touchdown catch ever."
Yeah.
He goes, "I've never had one all the way back to 7U when I was 7 years old playing. I never had a touchdown catch."
Yeah, there were some records. Yeah, that was definitely a record broken there. Because I think because he went over 200 yards, they capped it at 200. So it's like he threw a touchdown, caught a touchdown, had over 200 passing yards and things like that. That was the game to watch. The other one was a total S show. The Titans and the Miami Dolphins are a complete, just terrible situation, and yeah, I mean, I'm glad Seattle finally started making a game. It made it exciting. So it's like, we've had some really fun games to watch this year and a lot of back and forth, but there's been some stinkers out where you're just like, how is this professional football?
What am I doing here? What am I doing with my life right now? Yeah.
It's okay. I'm just going to go to the bar. I mean, we end up taking off. I think Sunday night, we're like, hey, I was going to go meet up with my brother over at Twin Peaks. And hey, buddy, I think it was like $12 buckets.
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
say $12 beer night. I was like, ooh, they were on sale.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, okay. And so I sat there and just pounded some beers. I was like, and it was the Bills Ravens. Was it the Bills Ravens game? No, that wasn't this weekend. It was something else.
Got out of control. That was Thursday night, right?
Was it Thursday? I can't remember who was playing last Sunday night, but anyway, I was just like this.
I can't remember.
You know what? It was Sunday because we left there at halftime, I think, and we were heading to the house. And I'm sitting there watching this game. And I go, "This is the worst effing game ever." And like everybody, Henson's comment, and I goes, "Exactly how much money did you put on this game?" I go, "Too much." And I kept betting even more. Like I was like slapping even more on the spread for the Bills. I go, "They're not going to get they're
coming back
and slap this bad."
Baltimore's an awful second half team. We've seen them blow second halves, right? Baltimore does that. And no, they just kept. Like, speaking of Baltimore, Mark Andrews, 1 target. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, have we reached the point where we're not? I need to drop 1 for a kicker. Oh, Jason. Oh no. Why can't we just drop our kicker to pick up another kicker? Dell, who's injured. Waddle. I mean, I don't know that I drop him, but JMO, no. Cup, no. Leggett, no. Wennington. I mean,
you don't have an IR spot? Cup should be in your IR spot. I think every team needs at least. You need to have at least one.
You're going to drop someone, yeah. Roschon. Yeah, I dropped Roschon. Right. Yeah. I talked about Saturday night. I don't believe in the Bears run game at all. Swift actually had a decent game this last week, but that offensive line is still trash. I'm going to say that game's an outlier for sure. I mean, yeah, if you got to drop someone, Roschon.
I've been listening to a couple shows here on the. I've been following these channels for quite a while, and everyone seems to be getting on board with getting rid of kickers. And I love kickers. They made the game a little bit more exciting and fun. But I'm like, you know what? I think that's what I kind of want going forward. Let's remove kickers and defenses from this. It takes a little bit more. If you want, put an extra flex in there. You know what I mean? And if you want to kick our defense, have it where it's anybody. It's anybody's game. You know what I mean? You can slap IDPs in there if you want.
Okay. So Jason said Cup is IR. I dropped my kicker to get Whittington off waivers. Okay. Yeah, I would drop Roshan. That's to me, that's pretty simple. Shaka's here. Hey, would you trade Garrett Wilson for Higgins, Brian Thomas Jr., and Kelsey redraft? So you're giving up Garrett Wilson for those three? Yes. Because I mean, I like Higgins. Brian Thomas has looked pretty good, and Kelsey's on the rebound. I mean,
Well, here's
you're
the
getting
question:
three solid players right there. But
who do you have to
what two
drop?
players? Yeah, I was going to say, what two players are you going to have to drop?
Yeah, because that's a lot. That's a lot. But yeah, I think I'm willing. And with Devontae Adams, don't be surprised if he ends up on the Jets, and it will reduce Wilson's share target. He's going to be, and Lazard's going to be obsolete. He's going to get in there and just tear everything up. Man.
Let's see here. That way I can wait until Saturday to drop Roshan so no one can add him before Sunday due to bye week. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily worry about anybody adding Roshan.
He's available in a ton of leagues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. People are scooping him up, and they're like, okay, but he's still not. He's still not the guy out there. I mean, and it's a terrible backfield situation with a terrible offensive line. Ooh, he got in the end zone this past weekend, though, right? That's why all the appeals there. I think he fell in the end. He ran into the end zone. He looks good. I mean, if I'm in a, dynasty league, yeah, I'm holding on to him. But
he was 7 for 26 with a TD.
That is
and
not
eight,
great.
8 for 30 last week. He had 4 catches for 32 yards, but like week 1 and week 2, absolutely nothing. Right.
So Swift is the guy still out there. They're at least they're pushing him.
Yeah, and Swift, which at one I don't understand because Swift's just he's not good. Swift ran 16 for 93 in the TD, 7 catches for 72 yards. I mean, he careered there. He ain't gonna have another game like that all season.
You say that every year, and then like the first 4 weeks of the year, he had like really good weeks.
Oh, he had one good game.
He fell off a cliff.
I was like, hey, I'm fading him this week, and he had a career game. He's never had a game like that before, and he hasn't had a game like that since then. And I was like, oh yeah, Swift, blah blah. I'm like, dude, shut up. It's one freaking week, okay?
You don't ever come back and try to tell Allen he's wrong because he will flip out on you. He's scored 48.90 points in PPR formats, which is good for like 20th. Yeah, I mean, he's so far down on the list. Yeah. So, yeah, I just for me, yeah, I'm just back to your original question. You were talking about Mark Andrews. I'm out. I'm just out. I can't keep him around any longer. Excuse me. And I can stream people who get Ertz. I'd rather have Ertz on my team scoring me 7-8 points a freaking week and just being like, okay, this is what I'm getting. This is the life I live. This is the life I've chosen.
I think at this point through what we've seen so far this year, Baltimore doesn't want to pass the ball.
Nah.
They're content with just running the ball, but that's always been their style, right? But they've never had a running back like they have with Derrick Henry this year. Even Derrick Henry kind of on the downside of his career is having a great year over there. You just kind of imagine what kind of career that guy would have had if he had played his whole career there in Baltimore, right?
Yeah. They're back to basics, man. They really are, and they've been playing teams that are really bad against the run, right? In Dallas, when they played Dallas, they ran right through their ass. You know what I mean? It's just, but yeah, for me, if I have a roster spot and I don't have to drop him, I got a soft spot for him, and I'll hold on to him. But if it's like, hey, buddy, I need room. I've got problems. I got injuries and stuff like that. I got better players that I don't want to drop just because they're injured and they're coming back. Boy, that's a tough drop, but I got to make it. I got to do it. I cannot hold on to the last, how long has he been in the league? Seems like forever. We've been chasing Mark Andrews forever, right? It's either me or you who gets him in most of our leagues. And then this year I was like, I'm not going after him, not doing it. And then I think last year he got hurt last year, and that, it is what it is.
With everything going on with Z White, should I drop Braylon Allen for Madison, or stay put with Braylon Allen? 12-team full PPR redraft. I'm keeping Braylon Allen. Especially if the Raiders end up trading away Devontae Adams. Now Jacoby Myers is your number 1 wide receiver. you don't have to worry about the pass game. Not that you were really stressed about it, but when you have a guy like Devontae out there, you got to pay attention to him. Now, with Jakobi Meyers being your number one guy, that's just not a great receiving core.
Wouldn't Tucker? I think Tucker filled in for Devontae last week. He did pretty well. I think Jacoby's still a wide receiver too.
So, but yeah, and I'm just Mattison is good for like a week or two here and there, but that's really it. He's not the guy, right? You know, Zamir's showing that he can't be the guy this year. I like Braylon Allen better.
Yeah.
It's just
he gets you 10 points, in PPR leagues, and he's just getting better. They're starting to lean on him a little bit more. Mattison in a pinch, if you're in a PPR league like as you are, yeah, he's got up weeks, but he's got some terrible weeks. He really does. That's just a bad situation to be in. But I think I'd roll with Braylon Allen.
Yep. Start Reek, Flowers, or Shaheed.
Well, I mean, if Tua's not in the game, you can't start Tyreek. No. Zay Flowers hasn't caught a ball in like 45 years. So I have to flip the coin, and hopefully Shaheed scores you 46 points.
It's boomer bust with Shaheed right now. He actually had a pretty decent week this week. Let me look it up real quick.
Well, it's with New Orleans, right? It's like if you play Olave, Shaheed gets all the action. If you play Shaheed, Olave gets the action. Lizzie has both of them, and she plays them both. She goes, I'm not missing the boom. I might take the bust, but I'm not missing that boom.
Yeah, he had 8 catches this last week for 83 yards, 2 rushes for 14 yards. They just find a way to get the guy the ball, right? Playing Kansas City this next week, a little bit of a tougher matchup. But Kansas City's also shown that they're susceptible, right?
Yeah.
Nice target share. This was his biggest targets this week with 11. The 3 weeks before that, you're looking at 5, 4, and 5. I don't trust Reek without Tua.
Yeah.
Hundley was just garbage this last week. He's not happy at all right now. And then Flowers is just Baltimore doesn't want to pass the ball,
especially with him. Yeah, I'm with you on Shaheed, man, and he almost scored a touchdown, like this beautiful touchdown this week, and I think he got knocked out of bounds at like the 2. So then whoever just fell in the end zone. He did have a fumble, like it was a muff punt, I think it was a muff punt or a kickoff. It's something. It hit him on the shoulder pad and shot in the end zone. You know what I mean? It was crazy, and you could tell he was like, "F this, I'm making up for it right now," and he went flying for the end zone, but he got flung out of bounds on like the 2. So, yeah, give me Shaheed if I have to pick somebody, especially out of those 3. And I would never – if 2 was playing, Tyreek Hill's an automatic start.
Yeah.
Auto start. He's in a terrible situation.
Yeah. I mean,
ever since he got yanked out of that car, it's been downhill for the Dolphins.
Which has nothing to do with Tua, but,
Tua got hurt that day.
I know, but Tua wasn't there and got yanked out of the car and had his head bounce off the ground, okay?
It's that bad juju, man. That's all it is. You start spreading bad juju and all hell breaks loose. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I mean,
there's no reason to think. I don't know why you're thinking about this. You're not starting either of these 2 dudes.
Because of the potential with Hill, right? The potential is still there with Hill. With Flowers, I mean, he's had 2 targets, 4 targets the last 2 weeks. So you're not getting really anything out of them. But you also got to think they're going to try and find a way to get Hill the ball. I mean, he still had 7 targets this last week. He had 4 catches for 23 yards. Playing New England.
He should have caught 2 of them too. They were like one of them was going out of bounds. You can kind of see he gave up on it. Another one, Waddle had a crazy drop right across the middle. He was afraid he was going to get pancaked. I mean, just start letting him loose in the backfield. Do some scripted plays. I don't know. Do some short routes. Have everybody run a button hook. I don't know, man. Like this, usually that guy, the coach it's not McCarthy. What's his name? I already lost my mind. They got with the glasses. What's his name? Head coach for the Dolphins.
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel. The dude's, I think he's just like so lost right now without Tua. And you can tell he's like out there sweating that perm he's got. It's all fade and frizzing up and all that kind of stuff on him. But he's too damn good of a coach to have this kind of problem.
I think he'll find a way. You know what? I think I've kind of talked myself into it. I'm going to go with Hill. I'm going to go with Hill.
Jason has
ceiling's higher. Hill almost had two deep TDs, right? I just think your ceiling's higher.
Yeah.
Michael, I need Huntley to have a better outing against New England. He didn't look how I remembered him in Baltimore.
Right?
But he also hasn't been with Miami that long though either, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
those 2 deep TDs, one was overthrown by about 5 yards and one was about 5 yards short. And I was like, it should have been just a little bit shorter because the best play in the NFL is an underthrown deep ball. That's guaranteed yardage every single time, especially when you play against Tyreek Hill because you're just chasing him. You're not looking at the freaking ball. You're
no,
chasing his ass.
right.
So, yeah, he almost had 2. I mean, they connect. That's a different ball game. They connect on those 2, but yeah, Hunt, I don't know what's the deal with that guy. Watch, he'll blow up this week. So, yeah,
Right.
I'm going the
So
safe route
I'm
by
going.
taking Shaheed, and you're going to take Tyreek.
I'm taking Hill for the potential. Ceiling's higher. Let's see here. I want to start Leggett, Dell, Winnington, Bijan, and Masson, or Mostert if healthy. Considering Jennings over Dell, expecting Diggs to get a lot of looks. Picked up K. Dotton to stream, Geno QB. Okay, I like Leggett. Leggett looked good this last week. He had 6 catches for 66 yards and a TD. With Andy Dalton back there, he's got an actual quarterback who knows what he's doing back there versus Bryce Young. I kind of like Leggett going forward, which is a guy that I was going to talk to you about and see how you felt about Leggett going forward.
I mean, look, Andy Dalton has supported an entire team before as far as having a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and a tight end, and having a good running back out of the backfield. He's got the talent to do it. He's a great veteran presence on that team, and he's just elevated that team to where they can actually make a run. If he keeps playing at the level he's playing at, he can make a run, and especially in fantasy, yeah, I pick up Leggett if I'm got 3 receivers and I flex. He's probably starting on my team. I don't know who is going to be starting over him, but yeah, no, give me Leggett in the flex, and it'll probably get you a touchdown and 4 catches this week.
There you go, and that worked. That's good because you got the TD right.
Mhm.
Where you at with Madsen or Mostert if healthy?
I'm out of me and Mostert, dude. We just don't get along. I love him,
Get
but
along.
there's like 50 running backs there. But you know what? Remember what they had this many? They had a ton of running backs, right? And A Chain would like just blow up a week, but Mostert would still get like a touchdown.
Mhm.
He'd still get like 5 carries, maybe catch a ball and a touchdown. He's always got that flex appeal, and I just have to see it this year before I can start playing him. You know what I mean? What's your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I think I'm leaning Madison. It just and plus I'm not necessarily worried about the Miami run game because the pass game is bad, right?
Mm.
The run game works so well in Miami with Tua back there because you have to there's so much respect you have to have for the pass game. Well, with Hunley back there, you don't have to necessarily worry about that. You more so have to worry about the run game and those running backs back there. And them looking to get, Tyreek the ball in shorter plays and things like that. Even hand in Hill the ball, right? You just want to get the ball in the guy's hand and just let him make something happen. So yeah, so I'm kind of leading Madison there.
Yeah,
Considering
I have to.
Jennings over Dell, I still got to wait to see if Dell's going to be healthy enough to play this week.
Mhm.
Um, you saw Jennings still had a pretty decent week this week, even with Debo coming back, but Debo wasn't 100% either. So I probably Jennings over Dell. I think CJ just leans on Nico so much, and then you've got Diggs there, so Dell's kind of like that third guy, right? Um, I don't know what the heck is going on with Brandon Ayuk. Like wants to get paid, he gets paid, and then he's acting out the entire time. Not wearing the right shorts to practice, what he was doing last week, throwing a fit all over all this stuff. So I think I'm gonna lean Jennings in that area.
Yeah.
What about you? Jennings or
I mean,
Dell?
Dell, I mean, if that kid's healthy, man, but it's a crowded receiving room. It
It
really
is.
is. It's
Yep.
bonkers. I preferred Leggett this week. I was gonna say I'm with you on Madison because obviously I just totally just said I wouldn't play Mostert, so I
Right.
want to make sure I was clear on that. And that's not a great option. He's kind of hit or miss, but yeah, I mean, I do like Dell, but I think if I'm going to go a little conservative on it, you know, Dell is wide receiver 3, I'm pretty sure for the Texans, and then Leggett's gonna be wide receiver 2, you know?
We're talking Jennings, not Leggett.
Jennings, no, yeah, I don't want sorry, I got sidetracked. All these effing names. I'm sitting there looking at all these things, I'm like, "I don't know, man," but expecting Diggs to get a lot of looks. Yeah, picked up Autumn to stream as well. Oh, I might be, like, ahead or behind, I don't know, I'm looking at, like, all these different comments.
That's the one we were just reading.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
we're going to jump down here to Chris. Half PPR. Ford, Hunt, Wicks, pick 2. I like Hunt. They definitely. Andy Reid said, "Hey, you're my guy" last week. Um, Wicks had a real good week, but is that just 1 week, right? Um, Christian Watson might be out for a little bit with the injury that he had. I don't know. You're looking at 1 week, and Ford he's all right. He had a decent week this last week. They came at me again Saturday, Ford or ETN again, and I went Ford again, and Ford was out ahead. ETN's just, unless he gets in the end zone, he, he's not worth it. He's not worth playing, right? Um, I'm almost getting to the point where, see, if I had 18, which I don't, I would deal him. I would get rid of him. See if you can get something for him. But I think I want to lead Ford in Hunt in that threesome. What about you?
Man, I'm going Ford for sure. And I don't know if I can believe Kareem Hunt is going to hit the field and just start tearing up. I don't know, man. I'd rather get Wicks. He's hot hand. Yeah, if you believe in the hot hand. Yeah, give me Ford and Wicks. Kareem Hunt off the couch. I don't know, bro.
Oh, he had 14 rushes for 69 yards this last week and 2 catches for 16
Oh my
yards.
God, I'm a week behind.
So, and that's
I'm on like
that's
that week
that's a
3.
weekend,
Yeah.
right? So, I think you see
Oh,
him getting better.
the rookie fumbled, right? Then he fumbled and he didn't see the still fumbled and didn't see anything else, right? Yeah. I would go. This is for your flex, or you got 2 receivers, or you got a receiver and 2 running backs.
He gets probably 2 of those 3 guys.
Yeah, give me Ford and Hunt. Ford and Hunt. Sorry about that. I'm
Yeah.
pre-gaming for strikeout beer already. So I'm like, it was a hell of a day. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
my wife's sick. The dog's running around here somewhere. I'm just, we get my drink on tonight.
Yeah, he did look good, Michael. He looked
Sorry.
good.
I
And when you have
apologize.
a rookie fumble, you look amazing, right? But I mean, Steele only had 2 rushes this last week for 6 yards, 3 targets in the passing game. He caught 1 for 0 yards and the fumble on the first drive of the game.
Yeah, he's one of the
Right.
most dropped players in fantasy right now still. So, yeah,
Yeah.
give me, obviously, the public, not that they know what they're doing either. They're overreacting on everything, but, yeah, I mean, you'd have to go Hunt. I said it last week was it 2 weeks ago or whatever? I was like, "This guy, he's gonna come in there and just disrupt everything. He's gonna" I was like, "Try to stay away from this backfield." He came in and just became RB1, just like that.
Yeah.
The guy's good. He's good at football.
He's pretty good at the whole thing called football.
Yeah, he's gonna I
He's
did I
pretty
was gonna say something else, but I didn't wanna be that guy. I'm not doing it. I'm
I
not
mean,
doing it.
since
No,
when?
no, not today. Catch me on Strikeout Beer, 8 PM Central Time.
You'll be that guy there.
Yeah. I mean, that show, you're just kinda over here, we're still kinda breaking these fellas in, right? Everybody's getting used to kinda humor. But if you've been following us for 5 years on Strikeout Beer, we get liquored up a little bit and mouth starts running a little bit and, having a little
Right.
fun, you know?
Anthony Richardson gets hurt. I waited too long to pull the trigger. Oh no, Michael. Way too long to pull the trigger on what? What are we talking about here? But Anthony Richardson, I've been out on him all year. He goes down. Flacco comes in. Flacco looks, 168 yards, 2 TDs. All of a sudden, Michael Pittman's now catching balls. Um, do you kind of hope Anthony Richardson is done? He's hurt. He misses some time.
Never. I don't ever hope a player like that, misses time or anything like that. Not, some players, some complete pieces of garbage, yes. But him, no. But from a fantasy aspect, yes. Joe Flacco is going to come in. Obviously, he did this week. We talked about it when he took over for the Browns last year when Deshaun Watson went down. They became like a playoff team, had a run, played amazing. Amari Cooper's balling out of his mind, and now Michael Pittman's catching balls.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I think Flacco, I noticed that Lizzie had him on his team or on her team because I was like, oh, man, AR is gone. Now, let me see. I like to snipe backup players. You know what I mean? To kind of poke a little bit. But she already had him. And so I was like, okay, well, that's a good pickup, but yeah, no, I'm in on Flacco. I hate that, Anthony Richardson's hurt again. but he's had one good game and then just kind of fallen off. So it's just
Yeah.
like, hey man, just hit the bench for a little bit, and it's just what you get with these rookie quarterbacks. They kind of throw you to the wolves.
Take your time getting better, because like Saturday, people asked me what I thought of Michael Pittman. I'm out on him with Anthony Richardson in there, because with Richardson, it's either he's going to hit a 60-yard play or he's going to throw the ball in the dirt and fart on himself. You know, it's one of the two. Those are the only plays that he has is 60-yard pass and fart and fall down on himself.
And the only
So
60-yard pass, it ain't going to Pittman. It's
yeah,
going to
no,
Dillon or Pierce. So
right. Um, let's see here. Just dropped Calvin Ridley for Hawkinson. Good move.
buddy, you didn't have anybody else? Ugh.
I don't know when Hawkinson's going to be back. Um, I don't like Will Levis. So because I don't like Will Levis, I don't like Calvin Ridley. You
Yeah.
know, um,
What's that other
maybe
Mason's back. He was under center. You know, they weren't even going to put him back in the game. They're like, screw it. Mason Crosby's got this. I want to say, is it Mason Crosby? No.
no, that's the kicker.
Yeah, that's the kicker. You know what? He looks like Crosby from the Penguins.
Sidney Crosby.
He looks like Sid Crosby. He kind of does. Mason Rudolph, that's his name.
Yeah.
Like, what's the Scooby?
Michael said, I feel like B. Allen will be better on Hubby. I like, we talked about him a little while ago. We like Braylon Allen. He's a guy that you might starting to see a little bit of a Detroit situation where both running backs on that team, you play them every week. You play them every week because they're both going to get their chances. They're both going to get their opportunities. They're both going to get red zone carries. They're going to take turns.
Yeah, I like him as a flex. You know what I mean, or an RB2. He's not my RB1. You know, not by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he's more of a flex play, but I'm playing him in like that sleeper league that we're in. I have him on that team.
Right. I was debating between Ridley, Odunze, and Chase Brown. Figured the latter two have more upside potential. Chase Brown had himself a good game this last week. You know, he finally stepped up and had a game. So hopefully that's something that he's earned some more playing time, because that's a guy that I used a little bit stock in Dynasty with him, right? Some late round picks on him. Odunze, I don't know. Caleb Williams hasn't looked good. He continues to just not look good. That team's winning in spite of him.
Yeah, Odunze had that big game last week, but then fell right back down to earth hard.
Mhm.
He was on the imperfect lineup, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean,
you just can't hit him. He's just throwing balls in the stands, throwing it in the dirt or whatever. Yeah, they got that win, and they actually contributed a little bit to it. But yeah, dude, oh my god, he looks rough.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Ridley, the drop. I mean, for me, I'm assuming this is a redraft league, because if it was a dynasty, I would keep Odunze over Ridley.
I mean, who are your two running backs at this point? Who are your starting running backs? Because Chase Brown's probably not your starter. He's probably on the bench somewhere. He splits time. You're probably not going to start unless it's like a crazy bye week, anyways. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still in the IR, right? Or is it over now?
Yeah, no. He hasn't been recalled. You still don't know when he's going to be coming back.
I'd find out if I have an IR spot and slide him right back in. But yeah, that's a bold drop. Hey, the ball's on you.
He's got Jacobs and Bijan.
Okay.
So yeah, you're just using Chase Brown in a bye week type situation. But if he starts to get a little bit more action, then he could become a flex player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on what his role looks like going forward. But for right now, he's just kind of a sit and stash.
Mm-hmm.
Is Estime a stash option in that backfield? I feel like Broncos are going to go young to see what they have. To me, it depends on if you're in a dynasty league. In a dynasty league, yeah, I'll stash Estime. I have him in one of my dynasty leagues, and he's just kind of sitting there chilling. He's injured. He's out. He's going to be out for a while, if I'm not mistaken. If you're in a redraft, yeah, you can go ahead and get rid of him. But if you're in a dynasty, yeah, I'd stash him if you got the spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be in a super deep league to start thinking about stashing him. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he said he was in a 12-team league, or it might have been someone else. I don't know. Yeah, you can't. I don't have that many bench spots, and with injuries this year and much higher caliber players being injured and being stuck on my bench, I just don't have the room to stash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, to me, it depends on if you're in a dynasty. If you're a dynasty, yeah, stash them. They'll
Yeah.
be an option for next year, right? But if not, 14 team PPR. It's a
Stash.
lot of teams. It's a lot
Yeah.
of teams.
Yeah. Stash. You're
Man,
gonna want him next. You're gonna want him in the future. So yeah. Someone else might scoop him up. I mean, if you got spots, most of these dynasty leagues, they got like crazy long benches, like the ones that we're in, and just they go on forever. You know what I mean? It's bonkers. I think we can only play like one running back and one flex, but then we got like 15 bench spots. But you can have like 6 running backs. I don't know. I think it's a 14. Is it
I mean,
14 or 16 team league? What are we in?
I don't even know. Too
I
many
don't know.
team league.
I don't even
That's
care.
boring.
Yeah, it's like it's the league I don't care about.
I mean, hopefully you got an IR spot because he is on the IR. So you can just kind of stash him on your IR.
Which you
So
should if you're in a dynasty league. And if you don't, hit up the commissioner and be like, hey, why don't we have an IR spot and we're in a dynasty league?
fix that,
Yeah.
Rich. Okay.
Mhm.
Jaden Daniels. Is this your offensive rookie of the year?
Of course. No doubt. No doubt at all. This guy's playing the lights out. He's everything. He's like I don't know, he's a threat on every single level. And the guy, he just gets it done. He's got whatever it is. He's got it.
I don't know what it is, but he's got it. I
Yeah.
mean, this week he had 233 yards, 1 touchdown, an interception,
Mm.
8 rushes for 47 yards, another touchdown, plus the 2-point conversion. He was 26 for 30 on pass attempts. Um, he's looked really good. A couple weeks ago, I kind of went all in on him, especially with the big question was him or Anthony Richardson, and I
Mhm.
was all about Jane Daniels. And here's what I like about Jane Daniels going forward: he's still got to play the Cowboys twice this year,
Yeah.
and the Cowboys suck against the run, especially a running quarterback. Look for Jane Daniels and Brian Robinson just to go off that game. Um, Especially with, I mean, Dallas, Demarcus Lawrence is going to be out for a while. Micah Parsons is going to be out for a while. So
Yeah, they were already terrible. Now it's just gonna be
right.
even worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, and Scary Terry's getting all kinds of action. I'm loving every second of it. Right now, Daniels is 4th in your leagues with 110 points, 3 points behind the leaders. You know what I mean? Like Mayfield, Jackson, and Darnold all have 113 points. Daniels is right there at 110.
Mhm.
So gimme.
Yeah. He's almost to that point now to where he's your starter, right?
Of course.
Like, I'm not necessarily worried about the matchups right now. I think I'm just gonna, until the kid shows me otherwise, I'm just gonna keep rolling with the hot hand, and he's been the hot hand.
Mhm.
Um, let me give me all the Jane Daniels you can handle.
Yeah. 4 rushing
Love
touchdowns definitely help. He's got 1
Yeah.
or 3 throwing, 4 rushing. The guy's he's a threat. And
Yeah.
I love it 'cause I think Washington's gonna win the East now. Like, I'm like, "Hey,
I mean,
let's go." I'm like
I wouldn't be surprised for sure.
Mhm.
Comics, I never know which kicker to play. What is your logic on which one to pick? Um,
I've got a couple crazy things.
okay, let's hear it.
Well, I look at what they've done lately, what they've done in the season, who are they playing this week, how's the weather type thing, what is it gonna dictate? Because 'Cause they've seen it like where it's just a downpour and they can't kick field goals. It's windy, they can't kick field goals,
Right.
and if there's someone that's playing in a dome or it's a nice clear day and, if you think it's gonna be high scoring, or if you got like say you got a quarterback that just can't get it in the end zone, like the Giants kicker. Yeah, that guy's been busy all season, and,
Yeah.
I just with kickers, it comes down to so much crazy stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm taking, there's rankings out there, and we obviously talk about kickers as well and whatnot. But yeah, it's just like look at the matchups, how's he been doing this season, and kind of roll and look at the weather reports and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, you also want to look for, like you're saying, look for an offense that's good, but not that good. Um, like the Giants,
Mhm.
like the Cowboys with Brandon Aubrey. I mean, they'll throw bread. They tried to kick like a 72-yard field goal. Then they called the penalty and they backed them up 5 yards. They're like, They're like, no, let's do it. Let's do it.
get,
Um,
get get your ass out there and let's go.
yeah.
Who's actually the leading right now on the kicks? Is it Boswell? Boswell's season total, so he's at 60 right now. So Pittsburgh, and it's a team that
Pittsburgh.
Sometimes they get in, sometimes they don't. I mean, he's 11 points higher than the next person up, and that's Group A or whatever from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Austin Siebert, Washington kicks a lot of field goals. I think what was that week? Were they playing the Giants that week? And it was nothing but field goals. Like it was probably they had 5, and I think the Giants had 4 or something like that. It was some crazy bonker thing.
Yeah. So I mean, just grab a guy you like.
Hold
A
on,
guy
that's normal players. Yeah,
whose name you think
Aubrey's
is
in first place. Sorry, he's got 72. Then Boswell's got 60, so he's 12 points behind with first place.
because he's kicking 60-yarders like on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely called it the kid to study. Yep. Do y'all put time in IDP spot also? I mean, not really. Like we're in one dynasty league where you get to play 3 defensive players, but they have to be off of the defense that you have. Like one of you carry 2 defenses in this league. It's a dynasty league, and you can pick any defensive players from your teams that you have. Those 2 teams that you have. IDP. I mean, you're just looking for the guys getting the most tackles, right? You're looking for a guy on a kind of a bad team that spends a lot of time out there on defense. Typically a linebacker, that's gonna just rack up all the tackles. So
yeah, we were in one IDP league and it was just lengthy. Like, I mean, we probably had 6 different spots. It was bonkers. But yeah, I mean,
defensive position.
I mean, you got to get out there and go, and hopefully you find some crazy rankings. And the projections are kind of accurate. They're pretty close when it comes to IDP, to be honest, because the numbers are generally pretty low.
Right.
Especially in our league. It's like, yeah, you get like 1 point or you get nothing.
So. George says, should I trade Mason for Achane or Bijan? Non-PPR. My other running backs are Barkley and Gibbs. Are you a redraft or a dynasty? Here's my only concern with that trade, though. Come playoff time for fantasy, Mason might not be the guy. Like for right now, it's a redraft league. Okay, so I'm not necessarily worried about going forward, right? But my concern is CMC coming back. It's probably going to be a little bit later in the year, and they're going to be looking to kind of ramp him up a little bit heading into the playoffs. Making sure he's good to go. So Mason might not play much once you get them around to playoff time. Now you do have Barkley and Gibbs, right? So you definitely want to play those guys. Yeah.
One of these third fellows are probably in your flex position, but I mean, right now CMC, they don't know when he's coming back. He got that second opinion. He's got tendonitis in both of his Achilles at this point. You don't know if he's coming back this year.
Yeah. Michael says CMC won't be back this year. I stand on it. Yeah, I mean he might not be. He definitely might not.
And if I had to pick from those 3, and if I have a gut feeling or if I can go on an inclination or something like that, I want Mason. But if I do have to trade, man, maybe Bijan. Achane should be good, but man, without Tua,
that's
Dolphins are so bad.
Yeah, and Atlanta hasn't ran the ball as well this year as they have in years past. Bijan's just been okay.
Algier just keeps cutting in on the action.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I got to stay.
Like I said, I might just stay pat, honestly, because you're good with Barkley and Gibbs. Like, I'd be okay with those 2 guys.
Yeah, Barkley's your number 2 running back right now. At least, I know you're a non-PPR, but I only look at PPR numbers. Barkley's number 2 with 102 points. Mason's number 5 with 74 points. Gibbs, he's all the way down. I think it's 10th. 7, 8, 9. I think 9, 71. So, I mean, yeah, Achane's below him. Bijan's further down. You just keep kind of going further and further down. And I do have a feeling that CMC is going to be out this year, so I'd rather have Mason than the other 2. If Tua's back, yeah, Achane he can bump up. I think, man, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. It should be the Bijan show, but Tyler Allgeier's no slump, and they keep giving him money or keep giving him the ball.
Whatever. Yeah. Is Ramondre getting benched?
Yes. Yeah. Antonio Gibson's the starter this week, I think.
Yeah. Well, nothing official. You just said the team's considering it.
Nothing official. I'm just saying. Yes, he's getting benched.
But I mean, we've seen what Antonio Gibson has.
He did okay last week. He filled in. I mean, it's the fumbles that you worry about. You know, they're talking about putting Drake May in next week. I don't know, but he's gonna be starting here pretty soon because they just suck. Like, my God, they're terrible. Both sides of the ball too. But yeah, no, I'm thinking Ramondre's getting benched. Now, is it going to be how long? I don't know, because Ramondre's too good of a player. He's a big dude too, but he's just coughed the ball up. I think back-to-back weeks. They're just kind of tired of it. They're like, you know what? Let's just take it easy. All right. I like Sermon though, because I think JT's going to be out.
He's probably going to be out a couple weeks. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah. And Sermon
so you're looking at
good.
Trade. Well, he had 5 rushes for 8 yards.
Was that Trey Sermon? Are we talking about Trey Sermon or are we talking about Antonio Gibson?
We're talking Trey Sermon right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Would you start Ramondre or Sermon if JT is out?
If Ramondre gets benched, I'm probably roll with Sermon.
Or do you go with Javonte Williams? Because it looks like that might be an option too.
How's he doing this year? I haven't really seen a whole lot about him. I don't have him in any leagues. I know he's getting dropped a ton, but then he gets picked up a ton. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? Like, he's just one of those guys that where it just he gets just tossed around.
He's not doing great. I mean, he had 16 rushes for 77 yards. This last week, 2 catches for 3 yards. I mean, his rushing yards are 23, 17, 12, 77. Receptions 1, 5, 4, 2. I mean, not great. I don't I don't know what I do. I still think I almost go with Ramondre, even with the threat of being
30 points through 4 weeks. Like, give me something else. Just give me anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, 30 points. 129 yards on the ground on 40 attempts, no tutties. He's caught 12 balls for 80. But yeah.
Yeah, I just
and he's lost a fumble.
It's going up against the Raiders. The Raiders aren't good.
Yeah.
I don't like your situation. How about that, Smitty? Come at me with a better situation, okay? No, I think I might still go with Ramondre. Red zone targets, right? Do you go with him in the red zone over Antonio Gibson? I know I do.
As long as he's not benched and they're like, hey, you're not playing. Okay. You know, if they come out and say, hey, you're bench, you're not going to hit the field this week, whatever, then yeah, I got a problem. But if they don't really say that, and they're like, you know, he's in the doghouse, but they're like, we need a touchdown, get your ass in there.
Get in there and just knock these guys around, right?
Yeah. Big boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we might need to revisit that this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it'll come out the closer you get to the weekend. Obviously, it'll come. You know, there'll be more news out. And
I mean, there's nothing out on JT, but more than likely out with a high ankle sprain. He's probably going to miss a few weeks. So then you got Sermon, who's getting it. Is Flacco or Richardson playing? I think that factors in on it. I like him better if Flacco's playing versus if Richardson's playing.
Oh yeah.
So let's kind of wait and see what the situation pans out to look like for this weekend.
Put a short out there from on Saturday or something like that. Yeah. Or you'll be live Saturday night. So
yeah, I'll be live Saturday night again. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens there. I have Montgomery on bye and JT. I may end up needing to start Javonte and Chase Brown. Oof.
Man, ain't nobody else out there. Like, you know, you can't go get Sermon. You can't go get Antonio Gibson. I mean, I'd at least go get Antonio Gibson. And if like JT's out, yeah, go get me Sermon. I'm gonna just plug and play right there. You know what I mean? You know they're gonna be the starter. Well, we don't know about Antonio Gibson yet, but you know Sermon's gonna be the starter. And with Flacco under center.
Javonte running against the Raiders, probably not that bad. The Raiders aren't good. Devontae's probably not playing this week.
Let me see something real quick.
Yeah, see it. What do you want to see?
No, I'm going to look real quick and see who's actually, because you know if they've already played bad teams, you know, then it won't really matter. Okay, so they've played Seattle 3 points, Pittsburgh 11 points, Tampa Bay 6 points, New Jersey Jets 10 points.
So okay. I mean,
so you're probably going to get about. Well, I mean, they say Tampa Bay is a little bit bad
It's
against the
not
run as
bad.
well.
They're
But
not
yeah, he
bad.
only scored 6 then. It's his catching that really does it for him. Actually, he had 77 yards last week against the Jets.
Yeah.
It's better.
I
16
think
totes.
you know what? It's 1 week comics. Roll the dice with Javonte and Chase. Chase might have himself another good week this week, right?
There's always a
And
chance.
if he has another good week, now you're sitting there looking like, okay, I got Montgomery and I got Chase Brown while JT's out, right? If they start to give him the ball more, let's kind of see how that situation plays out. But I mean, it's 1 week. You ain't going to win or lose your league based off of this week,
Yeah.
you know?
Chase Brown did have 15 carries, so he was heavily involved. And
Yeah.
that's second touchdown. Like, oh my God. So maybe not 80 yards and 2 touchdowns, but maybe, 50 yards and a touchdown will get it done. I'm down with putting Brown in, especially in a bad situation.
Yeah. I mean, you're covering bye weeks, right?
It started, man. It sucks. It's
We
just
got 4 teams on a bye this week. You got the Eagles, you got the Titans, the Chargers, and the Lions all on a bye. Um, you're missing some decent players, right? No Saquon, no Lions, right? So St. Brown, Montgomery, Gibbs, Goff, Laporta looked a little bit better this week, but he's still kind of. We'll see what happens with him.
mm,
I think the bye week comes at a good time for the Chargers, as they've kind of had a couple rough weeks. Herbert's banged up. You give him a week to rest, recover. Look for Herbert to kind of bounce back following the bye week. JK's had a rough couple 2 weeks, but I think that also has a little bit to do with Herbert hasn't looked that great because he's been fighting through injuries.
yeah,
So if you get Herbert back in healthy, I think that just helps J.K. Dobbins.
he's always hurt. Herbert's
Jake,
always hurt.
oh, Herbert. I was like J.K. Dobbins. Yes, I know. He's normally not playing already.
That's why he's so fresh, man, because he's,
He's
spent a lot of years on the just hanging out. You know
he's
what I
got
mean?
more carries now than he has his entire career.
Yeah,
So,
it's
um,
crazy. He wanted to get paid more money. He's making a good case for it now.
he is. He is. How do you feel about Jacoby Myers going forward with no Devontae?
Middle of the road. I'm not really too worried about it. I don't know why, but I'm not.
10
Yeah.
targets this last week, 5 catches, 49 yards. Um,
Where was it at? Hold on. Yeah, I don't know, man. And I got him in the league, and I usually like him, but the Raiders have been so up and down.
they
You
have.
know, he's got you 9 points, 6 points, 21 points, and 9 points. Yeah, the targets have been there the last 2 weeks. 9 against Carolina, 10 against Cleveland, 7 receptions in one, 5 in the other. He hit or miss. He scored a touchdown already this year, but I mean, they're going up against Denver. Without Devontae there, you figured he'd move up a little bit, but with Tucker got a lot of action this week as well. So, I mean, obviously he's a wide receiver 2 for you. You know what I mean? Or wide receiver 3. Depends if you went. I mean, if you went 0 RB in some leagues,
Your number,
he might be your wide receiver 3, flex option, but he's ranked 102nd or 102, 102nd right now, 19 receptions, 200 yards, man. I don't know. I mean, he's not even on my radar, like as anything to do anything with, because he's not on waivers or he's not, a free agent in a lot of leagues. So it's like, okay, well, he's not even. I'm not targeting him. He's rostered in 48% of leagues, so he's available in 52%.
yeah, about half.
I mean, if you need help in a wide receiver, he's definitely trending.
Yeah. Drop Chase Brown for Nick Chubb.
Man, you ain't got nobody else to drop for Chubb. Chase Brown's the worst running back.
I wouldn't. Because you don't. Chubb practiced today for the first time since injury.
It looked good.
He's designated for return. Um, it's going to take. I think he's going to have to practice for a few weeks, right?
Such a gruesome injury.
And let's be honest, comics. You need Chase this week because Montgomery and no JT. So picking up Chubb's not going to help you this week. Maybe you see what happens this next week. And if it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of hold off on picking up Chubb and maybe somebody else does it and just kind of takes that option away from you, and that might work out best for you, to be honest. Um, I'm kind of on the fence with Chubb. You don't know. Completely gruesome injury. Completely. Um, I would probably be in a wheelchair if that injury happened to me still to this day, right? Now he's a top peak physical athlete who can recover from something like that, but this isn't his first big injury. You don't know what Chubb's going to be when he comes back. And Chase, he just had his first good week this week. He might keep following that up. If Chase Brown keeps doing what he did last week, just picture Alvin Kamara his rookie year when he blew up, right? Where it took about 4 or 5 weeks, and then Kamara started getting the ball, and Kamara was a guy that won your leagues for you. I won my league. He won several leagues for me that year because I went and picked him up off the free agency wire, and he completely turned my team around. So I don't know that I do that right now. If Chase Brown doesn't do anything for the next couple weeks, maybe. But then you might also kind of hope someone else picks up Chubb so you don't have to have that discussion.
I
Where you
can't
at?
believe he's even available. I mean, he's only available in like 20% of leagues. So it might be just one of those rare occurrences. But yeah, no, I mean, most people would have picked him up, threw him in an IR spot just to kind of lock him up. I think he was drafted in a lot of leagugues.
He
But
was.
for me, I just, am I dropping him for him? No, I love Chubb too. And he was my keeper last year and it killed me. I was like, come on, man. I was like, I had such high hopes for him. I'd find someone. There's got to be someone else to drop. Chase Brown can't be the option to drop him.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't pull the trigger on that.
I just stay put because like you said, it's going to be a couple more weeks, and you've kind of already have some other issues. You pick a guy up that's already injured. He's coming off an injury. Yeah, I'd probably just stay away.
Yeah. Yep. That's where I'm at. All right. So you got some stats and numbers you're gonna throw out for us, don't you?
No.
I swear to God, you said you had some.
That's if we had time. Like, we always go through like the studs of the week or whatever.
You don't want to throw a couple out there real quick?
No, not really. Who cares? It's just fantasy football anyways.
The people care.
No, I mean, Jordan Love's back, obviously. He dropped you 42.5 or 42.05 in which was a surprise. I was like, dude.
He didn't look good.
Not in the beginning. Second half.
He didn't look good. And I'm pretty sure he had a couple interceptions though, too, didn't he?
He threw, he got 3 picks on the season. So, he threw 3 freaking picks Sunday.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
He doesn't have 3 picks on the season for you. He had 3 picks this week for you. He
threw 389 yards, but they were playing from behind. They had to, right? The game script called for it. They were down 28-0.
He threw 54 passes. He was 32 for 54. They're not going to keep you can't win throwing 54 passes.
Isn't that the most Dak Prescott, Tony Romo stat of your life? I mean, that's just it. If you covered up that name, you'd be like, oh, that's probably Dak. They were probably down.
I think Dak hasn't won a game when he's thrown over 45 passes. It might even be 40 passes.
Is it 40?
40 or more.
Yeah, they were talking about numbers. I don't think they went up to the 50s. I don't know if it was like there's zero.
He's had a couple where he threw 50, and he's over, right? Because if you're dropping 50, if you're throwing 50 passes, you're not doing good. Now, I will say that does bode well for fantasy, but that doesn't bode well for real football.
No.
Jordan
Who's the Jaguars quarterback?
Blake Bortles.
It's the Bortles effect.
He was awful for the first 3 quarters, but then he dropped 25 points in the 4th quarter. Because they were down by like 40 and they're not playing defense. The other team's not playing defense. So he's just throwing all these big chunk plays, racking up yardage and getting some meaningless touchdowns. He's fist bumping like, yeah, buddy, we're only down by 30 now. Let's go. We got 5 minutes to go. Come on. We can get another one.
Oh my God. You had 2 studs in the running back department this week. We'll call them studs because they were above 30. You had Derrick Henry at 37.90, Kenneth Walker the third at 33.6. Henry almost hit 200 yards rushing, 199 and a touchdown on 24 attempts. Kenneth Walker had 3 touchdowns on 80 yards and 12 attempts. Now, Henry did catch one catch a touchdown as well. He had three receptions for 10 yards. Obviously, one of them resulting in a touchdown. And Kenneth Walker had 4 for 36. So very cool stuff. DeAndre Swift and both Alvin Kamara had 7 receptions. Swift had 72 yards. Kamara had 42. That was a nice little stat that I saw. I was like, that's a lot of receiving, like a lot of receptions. So it's crazy as hell. As far as that was really it at Kraft, Tucker Kraft. I mean, every Green Bay player, Reed, he got in the I think number 2 spot, but Tucker Kraft won for tight ends this week, scored 17 points, had 6 reception, 53 yards and a touchdown, had a lost fumble. That sucks. They had a lot of turnovers. Minnesota's good. The defense is good. And I cannot believe, again, we're sitting here, Darnold, he's still winning. He's slinging it. He was so much fun to watch. That was actually a fun game. It was a blowout, obviously, in the beginning, and then Green Bay clawed back.
I'm drawing a blank on who it is, but we had one of the guys who's in here all the time. He's in there every Saturday night with me. He goes, "Hey, I pulled the trigger. I listened to you." I go, "Okay." He goes, I went ahead and I traded Anthony Richardson for Sam Darnold. I said, "Good job, buddy."
I mean, Darnold, he's just having a hell of a year, and it's fun to watch. It really is, because he was on teams backups. He's with the Jets. The Jets always suck, and you're just like, okay, good for you, pal. And now he is third now, but he's third by 0.10. Yeah. Right? Mayfield and Jackson are both tied at 113.7. He's 113.6.
And Mayfield was the guy I told you to go with this last week, and he had himself a day. Michael Addison over Shaheed, a good move. Yes, Addison. Now he only had 1 catch this last week, but it was a tutty. It was his first week back. Sam Darnold thrown to him. I'm going Addison. I like Addison.
You flip a coin for Shaheed, man. You don't know if it's going to be Olave's week or his week. I know you like Addison, though. You're a big fan of Addison.
I do.
I'll let you handle that one.
I like Addison. NS is here. Had to join in to thank you for the recommendations this week. I'm 4-0. There we go, baby.
There you go.
What I like to see. That's what I like to see.
I like winning. I like fantasy.
I'm great at dealing out the advice, and then when it comes to my team, I just S the bed. Like it's just like I don't know. I'm doing all right this year. I'm having a better year this year.
Well, they're generally asking about good players on a good team, and your teams just suck. So it's like you have the advice because you don't have to make any of these decisions because you're just teams are garbage. Don't worry, it happens to everybody.
Step off, okay? Back off. Okay, we're looking. We got a couple leagues that are a little bit rough, but I mean I'm 3-1, 3-1. I got one league that started a week late. I'm 2-1 in that league. I got a 2-2 league, and I got a couple 1-3 leagues, but one of them is the league where I drafted a kicker and a defense to start off the draft. Nice. That one's not going so well, but there's still time.
You just need a couple more injuries.
No, I'm not panicking yet. We're still good.
No, right before we go, that's one thing we were talking about at the beginning, because it's like, I started off rough this year as well. And it's like, I remember there was that season you started 0-4 and you were like, are you freaking out yet? He goes, no, it's not, no fire sale yet. But I think 0-4, the percentage of making the playoffs drops quite a bit, but you cannot go 0-5. Like you got to start making some moves.
You start to get a little nervous, but that 0-4 year, that's the year I was talking about with Kamara, because I went 0-4. I picked up not only Kamara, but Juju Smith-Schuster, and that was the year they both blew up, and they just helped carry. They carried me all the way to the championship. It was great. It was great. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, you don't have to worry. I mean, you got to start looking. You got to start figuring out a plan. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a player.
You're sweating a little bit, right? At 0-4, you're sweating. You're like, whew. Now the nice thing is you can go 0-5 now because there's an extra week in your season, right? Back in the day, 0-4, when you get 0-5, you're kind of done. You can go 0-5 right now because you got that extra week, But you don't have a lot of room for error going forward. You gotta handle business.
Just get into playoffs. Just start righting the ship. Get the win. Start stacking dubs. You start going on a winning streak. Anything's possible.
Hey, I want to tell you this right now. We're going to take it to baseball real quick, because in August, the Detroit Tigers had a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. Go 31-13 to finish the season, go in the playoffs, and just kick the living crap out of the Houston Astros. Let's freaking go.
funny.
It wasn't about the 0-3 start for me, but how I lost the games, injuries and goose eggs.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
We post the imperfect lineup every week on YouTube as a short, and
Yeah.
boy, they got some big names on there. So you know that some people lost some games over that, and there's been some close ones too, like where it just come down to the wire. Your team performed well, but then it happens. It really does. It sucks.
Well, here's a fun fact for you.
Is this a fun fact or is this gonna like
This is a fun fact. Um, was gonna tell you congrats for Detroit, but my Rangers didn't make it back this year. Yeah, yeah, Rangers didn't make it this year. Rapid Dave does the Ranger roundup on a after every series. Big Ranger fan over there, and he was a little depressed doing the last one.
it was
A little sad.
depressing, but it's 2025, baby. They're gonna be solid. Even someone chipped in and said it that they're like, "Yeah, man, 2020. I'm looking forward to next year." Like, me too. Me too.
You want to talk about bus going on so far this year? Jared Goff has more receiving touchdowns than Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle, George Pickens, Sam Laporta, Travis Kelsey, Trey McBride, and Mark Andrews.
Right there. Yeah. Kumar Rocker, baby. Absolutely. He's gonna be a stud. He is a stud. Yeah, no, those when I saw that pop up, I go, "Oh my God." I was like, it's not like, oh, week 1 shenanigans or even week 2 being funny. We're 4 weeks in.
We're 4 weeks in. The 49 and look at that 49ers team. Debo and Ayuk don't have any touchdowns.
Yep.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a
It
problem.
is.
So we're gonna get out of here, guys. Thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate it. I'll be back Saturday night. I look forward to my Saturday nights. I get all nestled in, go and tell the missus and the kids. I'm like, hey, do not disturb. I'm gonna be live for. I actually went like an hour and a half this last week, with just we were having a great time. We had a lot of people in there. It was a lot of fun. But thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you guys. We'll keep the shorts going throughout the week, talking about some of the things we were talking about during here. We got to keep our eyes on some of these situations. Saturday, it's usually around between 10 and 11 o'clock. I go live Central Time. It's a late night type of thing, which is nice because you have a little bit more information going forward. You get to kind of look at a few things. We do a lot start sits in that, and we also do a lot of trade talk in there too. A lot of trade talk. A lot of trades happen on Saturday nights. Let me just tell you that. A lot of people come in there going, "Hey, I was just offered this trade. Hey, I just sent this trade. Hey, should I do this trade? Yeah, let's get into it." So, but we usually have a normal good group of people in there on Saturday nights, and we have some fun. And just kind of we talk it out, right? We're sounding boards for everybody. We all talk it out. We have a good time. We're here to help everybody win. We want you guys to take down those chips and not have to deal with some of these punishments. We don't want anybody in here having to get an Ariana Grande tattoo because they lost their league. Okay, we're going to help you not get that tattoo. How's that sound?
That league so fast. Just keep the money. I'm out. It's like,
but you think you're like, okay, I'm not going to be the worst, right? I don't have to be the best. I just have to be better than one guy, right? Yeah.
hand sweat just thinking about it.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on Saturday. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I'm Alan.
Marty.
We'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.